Good evening. Welcome to our Thursday night pastoral briefing. So, my role is very simple. I help churches to put structure around care, stewardship and continuity. So everything doesn't rest on one person. Okay? Pastors, deacons, church administrators, trustees, leaders, I appreciate you being here. Okay. I'm going to be very respectful of your time and extremely direct. Okay. Pastors don't want empty pews. You don't want confusion. You don't want people quietly disconnecting. And you definitely don't want whispers, right? Who wants the gossip? Because confusion creates conversations that you did not authorize. What you want is church confidence, people connected, given consistent, leadership aligned, and the pastor to be protected. And I'm going to show you how to get that structure because stewardship requires structure. Okay. Um, if you believe that God is a God of order, then you're in the right place because I do too. Okay. I'm not here to sell you hype. If you want growth without structure, this is definitely not the right fit. But if you want peace, protection, and consistency, this is definitely for you. Okay. If you're ready for order, then stay connected. All right. You're probably wondering, who is this? My name is Jessica Shante. I am a VP level financial leader with over 20 years in lending, compliance, audits, and multi state leadership. Okay. I serve serious leaders with one mission, that's to bring structure to stewardship because systems honor God and they protect people. I created the church continuity platform to help churches to stabilize connection, giving it continuity without the pastor carrying it along, without the burden being on all on one person. Okay. All right. Because you don't know me, as we navigate the night, I'm going to share, some client testimonies. So this is one. My client went from 300,000 to 900,000 in 2 years. Okay. All right. And then here's the gift. If you stay with me to the end, I'm going to give you my continuity checklist. This is going to ensure that you keep things moving along in your congregation, even when life happens, because it will. Okay. If you type checklist in the chat, if you want it, I will make sure that we get that to you. Okay. And my promise to you tonight is to leave you with clarity that you can implement this week. No fluff, no lectures, practical structures that honor God and protects the church. Okay. Okay. Let me name some real issues that pastors carry quietly. Okay. You can preach your heart out and still watch people drift because there's no follow up rhythm. You can have sincere leaders and still have confusion because roles aren't clear and processes aren't documented. You can have faithful givers and still have unstable giving because communication is inconsistent. You can also have a clean heart, but still have a reputation of risk, okay? Because when clarity is missing, assumptions will fill the gap. Pastors, I know that you want to build. Some of you want to build a life center, something that outlives you, but vision can't scale on stress. Vision needs infrastructure. Okay. You don't have to raise your hand, just be honest as I go through, as you're thinking about some of the challenges that you face or that you felt while being under pressure. Okay. This one question exposes whether the church is protected or dependent. If something happened to the pastor today, what does the church do tomorrow? Who has access? Who has instructions? Who has authority? If the answer is, well, we'll figure it out, that's not continuity. That's dependence. Okay. If you want to be prepared and not pressured, then I have something for you. Okay. Here's another one of my clients. Okay. That was able to take a vacation, something that they had not been able to do, and would definitely recommend. So let me tell you a story, okay? And I'm going to call this, the envelope draw church. Cause I'm not naming a church because this is a composite of what happens in most churches across the world. Good people, faithful people, strong praying church. The kind of church where the mothers keep the kitchen moving and the deacons make sure the lights stay on. But behind the scenes, their system wasn't a system. It was a drawer. Tithes and envelopes, receipts and folders, passwords in somebody's phone. And every report depended on one person remembering what went where. It worked until it did not. If you ever seen an envelope drawer system, then you know what I'm talking about. Okay. And here's what started happening before anybody called it a problem. Visitors would come and nobody followed up. Members would miss a Sunday and nobody noticed until months later. People didn't leave mad, they left disconnected. And the pastor started feeling that quiet anxiety. Why aren't people staying? It wasn't the preaching, it wasn't the vision, it was the missing rhythm, consistent connection, and consistent communication. And then the second pressure came, reputation, that reputation pressure. And when a church is unclear, people fill the gap with assumptions. That's where whispers live. Not always because people are evil. Sometimes it's just because there's disorganization. And you should not have to fight rumors created by confusion. If you want your name protected, you should. You absolutely should. And you have the right to. Here's the revelation that changes everything. If it is not documented, it's not protected. Order is not control. Order is care. Okay. Order protects the people. Order protects leadership. Order protects the vision. And this is not a big church message. This is a stewardship message. Let me be precise. Most churches will not face an IRS examination, but every church will face scrutiny at some point, from board questions to lender requests, grant compliance, payroll issues, or a leadership transition. It will happen. It is going to happen. It happens now. Structure is what keeps the church steady when scrutiny comes up. Let me share some secrets that are hidden in plain sight. Secret number one, tools are not systems. A given app is not a system. A text tool is not a system. A spreadsheet is not a system. A system has three things. It has an owner, a workflow, and a review rhythm. If you don't have that, you don't have structure. You have activity, but not structure. If you got tools but still feel chaos, you're in the right place. Here's how you know you have a real system. Who owns it? What happens weekly? Who reviews it monthly? That one framework will remove 50% of church confusion, because confusion usually isn't spiritual, it's operational. Secret number 2: connection prevents empty pews. Empty pews do not start with a crisis, they start with a quiet drift. People miss 1 week and then they miss 2. Then they stop feeling seen. And sometimes, pastors, you take it personally. When the truth is, the church lacked a connection rhythm. If you want people to feel seen, you should. But what is the process and the system that's in place to ensure that that happens on a consistent basis? Let me give you a simple rhythm that works in real churches. Visitor follow up within 48 hours. That's text, call, and an invite. Absentee check-in weekly, because one missed Sunday shouldn't become a missing member, right? That shouldn't turn into I'm missing all year. Care touch point weekly, so people know the service is not just a service, it's a shepherding system and the next step pathway, because people don't stay where they don't know how to belong. You don't have to raise your hand, just answer in your spirit. Do you have a consistent follow-up rhythm right now? Do you have something that's in place right now? Okay. Secret number 3: giving follows communication, not manipulation, communication. When communication is consistent, participation becomes consistent. When communication is random, giving becomes random, and pastors feel like they have to rush. But pushing isn't the solution, structure is. If you want giving to stabilize without begging, this is the place for you to be. We should always get roots from the word. I believe in always being grounded in biblical scripture. And my favorite scripture is Luke 12:48. To whom much is given, much is required. And as leaders of the church, as the head, you already know very well what this scripture entails. Okay. Here's more client love. Here's what stable churches do on purpose. Okay. A weekly rhythm message, same day, same time, so the church hears consistently. A monthly recurring giving invitation, because consistency is built, it is not hoped for. After a quarterly re engagement message for lapsed givers, because people don't always stop believing, sometimes they just stop being reminded. Okay. This is leadership. This is stewardship. Having a system in place to help with keep the congregation stable. Okay. Now let's talk about reputation. A pastor's reputation is too valuable to be left to undocumented processes. When processes are clear, assumptions don't grow. When documentation exists, confusion cannot rewrite the story. This is how you protect the man of God and protect the church from unnecessary noise. If you want your ministry spoken of with honor, you're in the right place. Now, let's talk about the solution. Okay. Given the time that we've had, okay, before I dive into the solution, did I give you something that you can use this week? Okay. Not sensitive, just honest. So you can type yes or no. I definitely um appreciate it. If I earn the right, then type yes. And I will show you how we install this in a way that protects the pastor and does not overwhelm the existing team that you have in place. Okay. This is the solution. The church continuity platform installs the workflows and the rhythms that keep members connected, keep communication consistent, and protect the pastor with continuity. This is how churches move from we'll figure it out to we have a plan. Okay. Here's how we make this simple. Core is the foundation. It installs the structure that stops people from falling through the cracks and brings consistency to how the church communicates and functions. Gold is foundation plus protection. Okay. That's where continuity becomes real. That's documentation, access protocols, transition steps, and a quarterly review so the church stays ready. Legacy is invitation only. So that's executive level transformation for churches that are prepared for deeper work. Most churches start with core or goal. Okay. If you need structure installed, this is your go-to. Now I'm going to remove all the friction. Step one, you know, you're going to choose your platform right here. Core for foundation, goal for foundation plus protection. Nothing complicated. Keep it simple. One or the other based on where you are today. Okay. If you choose core, you'll see, the checkout screen, confirm the summary, and then move forward. If you choose goal, it's the same process. Confirm goal is selected, confirm the summary, and move forward. This is what pastors appreciate the most. After you enroll, you see exactly what happens next. No guessing, no confusion, but order. Somebody will say, I know we need this, but we're really too small. Small churches need structure the most because one person often holds way too much. Okay. Structure reduces dependency and it protects integrity. As leaders of the vision, that's important. That is important. It's serious business. Okay. Somebody will say, we already have a tool. Tools are not systems. A tool without a workflow is still confusion, just digital. We install systems that will create outcomes. Okay. Somebody else is going to say, we can't afford it. I understand budgets, but here's the truth. Crisis costs more than prevention. Lost members cost more. Unstable giving costs more. Reputation damage costs more. Investing now prevents expensive pain later. If you believe prevention is wisdom, this is the right move. My role is simple. I help churches put structure around their care, continuity, and stewardship. So everything does not rest on one person. The church is sustainable and continually grows. Choose core if you want foundation installed now. Connection, communication, consistency. Choose gold if you want foundation plus real security, continuity protection, and pastoral safeguards. Okay. And whether you enroll today or not, take the first step. Get the checklist and start documenting what you can immediately. If you're ready for order and church confidence, this is for you. Okay. And so if you have found this helpful, please be sure and comment core or goal for more information. If you're just interested in checking out the checklist to kind of see where you are in the process, put some things in place, comment checklist, and I will be sure that you obtain a copy. Okay. Thank you for tuning in with us tonight.